Australia's scariest spider is hiding a deep secret. But what is it? Well, introducing the huntsman, native to the land down under, and the #1 cause of tourists absolutely shitting themselves on camera. And look, in defense of said tourists, I will be the first to admit, yeah, this looks scarier than a f***ing job application. Those gangly ass legs and the hair make him look like Slender Man's testicle. Now, as if having a negative charisma stat wasn't bad enough, I regret to inform you that the huntsman spider grows up to 30 f***ing centimeters in size, making it the largest spider on the planet by leg span and legally allowing Subway to market him as a foot long. Now, being the spider equivalent of a Ford F-150, you'd think he'd have the common decency to be slow, you know, tank build. Unfortunately, the huntsman is f***ing turbocharged. Now, it's usually at this point in the video that I would inform you that he is also highly venomous, because it's Australia. However, that's his big secret. The huntsman is a big sweetheart. You see, despite looking like an SCP, huntsmen are incredibly timid, and on the rare occasion they do bite, their venom is harmless. In fact, seeing one of these bad boys in your house is a blessing in disguise, because if you see a huntsman in your home, I guarantee you won't see any annoying ass flies or mosquitoes, because he's eaten them. You see, he understands he's big enough that he should be paying rent, and so he contributes to the household in pest control. I personally have had one of these bad boys as an 8-legged roommate, and I can tell you, they're pretty good company. Ooh. Except for the part where they cause car crashes. Yeah, you see, huntsmen like to hide in tight spaces and cracks, and they do it by flattening out their body to fit into the gap. Now, in the house, that usually means you'll just find them behind a painting, but when you're flying down the highway at 110k an hour and decide to flip down the sun visor because God is trying to flashbang you, yeah, they like to sleep in there and you've just dropped one into your lap. Now, whatever you do, don't panic or you're gonna crash the... Australia has a straight up Pokemon. Introducing the brush-tail possum. More specifically, the golden brush-tail possum. Native to the land down under and one of the rare examples of an Australian animal that isn't expressly designed to DoorDash you straight to heaven. You see, the brush-tail is one of a grand total of 23 species of Australian possum, which, despite the name, share absolutely no relation to the red-blooded American opossum. These adorable little marsupials come in all shapes and sizes, from the ringtail possum to the sugar glider, and to our protagonist here, the golden brushtail, which is really just a common brushtail possum with a rare genetic mutation called leucism that causes them to lose the pigment in their skin. So basically, it's a fucking shiny Pokemon. Coming in at around 4.5 kilos and 40 centimeters in length, these tree-dwelling marsupials are nocturnal and primarily herbivores, mainly consisting on a diet of leaves and fruit. And for added cute points, as marsupials, yes, they carry around their babies in a little pouch like their roided out cousin the kangaroo. However, come on, the thing is from Australia, you didn't really think these bad boys would be squeaky clean, did ya? You see, they aren't entirely herbivores. Sure, they love a good salad. They will also quite happily raid a bird's nest and turn Tweety's kids into a 3-egg omelette. Roadkill? Sounds like a fine steak dinner to me. And just because it's not a venomous predator, doesn't mean it can't take your fucking finger off. And the cherry on top, Aussie Pikachu here doesn't go Pika Pika. No, you see, Down Under doesn't have Pokemon trainers, because when you step into the tall grass out here, you hear this absolute fucking demon. Australia doesn't just have snakes and spiders, it has a tiger. Well, kinda. Introducing the thylacine, better known as the Tassie tiger. As the name suggests, native to my home state of Tasmania, this tiny little island off Australia's south coast. No, that is not New Zealand. They have hobbits, not tigers. Oh, tiger isn't entirely correct. You see, the thylacine isn't a cat on steroids. You see, this bad boy is the largest carnivorous marsupial on the planet. Despite the kangaroo coming in at 7 foot tall and throwing kicks like Chun-Li, they are herbivores, and everything else with a pouch that eats meat is about the size of a chihuahua, making this 1.3 meter, 20 kilo kangaroo dog with a tiger persona the only marsupial apex predator. See, these things were ambush hunters, using stealth and speed to silently take down their prey like they're playing f***ing Assassin's Creed. On top of being a fully qualified Spec Ops agent, these things had a mouth on them to rival Kirby. Capable of opening their jaw a full 80 fucking degrees, which is absolutely terrifying and really cool. There's just one small problem. You may have picked up on me talking mostly in the past tense, and that all of this footage is in black and white. That's because we don't have a tiger. We had one. Unfortunately, the thylacine was driven to extinction in the late 1980s. By what exactly? The British. You see, when the Brits, did their thing and decided Tasmania was their house now actually, they brought with them livestock, namely sheep and cattle, which was a fucking blessing to the Tassie tiger, which rapidly added these walking meatballs with the survival instincts of a wet sock to their meal plan.
It's free real estate.
The colonists did not take kindly to the thylacine taking their livestock without a license in it, so they placed bounties on their heads. Never mind that these things never attacked humans and very rarely took their livestock. No, they were an inconvenience. And so, they were hunted down. One by one by one. For 70 fucking years. Until September 7th, 1936. When the last thylacine, Benjamin, died cold and alone in a cage at the Hobart Zoo. Usually I'd end these with a joke, but the fact that we wiped his entire bloodline and turned him into a fucking rug isn't that funny. Australia just found a new record-breaking insect. But before I show him to you, how the fuck do we keep finding new bugs? You see, Australia is home to an estimated 200,000 species of insect, which is pretty damn impressive, especially when you consider the only place you're going to find more bugs than that is by counting the fucking roach population in Asmongold's walls. Now, the scary part of this is that out of that 200k, we've only actually identified 62,000. Meaning that we have no idea what nearly 3/4 of the bugs in the country actually fucking do.
You like jazz?
And so it should come as no surprise that while exploring Australia's dense rainforests, two scientists discovered a new record holder for the largest insect in the land down under, and it's a fucking stick bug. Introducing Acrophila alta, and coming in at a full 40 centimeters and 44 grams in weight. I don't think that qualifies as a stick insect anymore. That's fucking Groot! Australia's very own Erd tree avatar was discovered in Queensland. Because of course it fucking was. And despite being enough inches in length to make any man jealous, it's actually completely harmless. However, given how many oversized bugs we already have, if we find any more, I think they're gonna send the fucking Helldivers. This bird is a serial killer.
Jesus fucking Christ, you're the Bay Harbor Butcher.
I really hate that name.
Introducing the Shrike, a group of feathery friends found all over the world, including the land down under. Now, at first glance, you may be thinking to yourself, how could this sweet little guy be a vicious killer? I mean, he's so tiny. They only grow up to around 30 centimeters and cap their weight out at 90 grams. And on top of being about as threatening as a fucking teddy bear, look at their claws. A shrike trying to end anything with its talons is like trying to stab a hippopotamus to death with a fucking pool noodle. Listen to the thing, it sings like it's on American Idol. It's a songbird, a branch geek. You'd never heard a fly. But I'm fucking onto you, Tweety.
You give me a fucking creeps, you know that, Dexter?
You may have everyone else fooled, but I know exactly what you are, because shrikes actually have another name. They're called fucking butcher birds. Yeah, that's right, the Dexter jokes actually had a fucking point. Now, you see, when the Bay Harbour butcher bird wants to hunt, they first start by selecting a target.
Tonight's the night.
Now, unlike Dexter, their code tells them they can eat whatever the fuck they want. Insects, mice, fuck me, even
lizard.
And once they pick their meal, they wait for the right moment and swoop on it. Now, while those claws might be fucking useless, they do have a signature weapon. That tiny hook on the end of their beak. And once they land on their victim, they slide that hook into its neck, perfectly slotting between their vertebrae and severing their fucking spinal cord. But converting their prey into a vegetable isn't enough. No. These sick fucks keep trophies. Once they have paralyzed their prey and shattered its spine, they will fly its corpse back to their larder, which is either a thorn bush or a fucking barbed wire fence. And once they get home, they fucking impale them. They will then leave that corpse there for days, occasionally biting chunks out of it, eating it like leftovers from the fucking fridge. Dexter collected blood slides. These fuckers create kebabs.
They say that we malfunction. What in the robo Satan are you? A new model? Fancy. Listen, I'm just gonna head over this way, if that's alright with you.
You heard that noise earlier? Sounded like something big moving. Could be another pipe bursting. This place is falling apart. Yeah, well, if something does jump out, you're going first. You're kidding? I'm hiding behind you so fast you think I teleported.
Come on! Don't glitch on me now!
Australia just found a new shark. And of course, being from the land down under, it's fucking weird. Introducing the brand new Western Australian lantern shark. As the name suggests, discovered by a team of scientists off the coast of Western Australia. Now, as with the overwhelming majority of weird shit in the ocean, the Ozempic shark here is found in the deep sea, sharing a postcode with the anglerfish, that one xenomorph shark, and now, despite the word shark making most people think of something a little closer in size to, I don't know, Bruce, Slenderman's fish sonar over here only grows up to 30 centimeters. This little guy shares a weight class with a fucking foot long. But I mean, honestly, I still personally think 30 centimeters is way too big. He could be just as good as the other sharks if he was, you know, let's just say 3 inches. However, other than being built like a fishy USB cable and owning a property in rock bottom, what makes him so weird? Simple. He fucking glows.
Throwing flashbang.
But fucking why? Well, you see, these bad boys are found in the twilight zone of the ocean, around 1.2 kilometers below the surface. A place so fucking far down, it sees less sunlight than the inside of a gacha addict's room. And so, lantern sharks evolved bioluminescence on their gills and fins in order to fucking communicate with one another. The glow is the evolutionary equivalent of a fucking indicator, showing that a literal abyss shark is more intelligent than your average BMW driver. Okay, so, as the Aussie animal guy, I feel like I might owe you an explanation for this one. That is a normal fucking Roo. No, he is not Roosus Christ, he's not the second coming, and he's not gonna turn your water into wine. Alright, he might turn it into VB if you ask nice.
Get that up, yeah.
But if that's the case, how the f*** is he stealing the Son of God's passive? Well, the answer is f***ing sand.
I don't like sand.
Yeah, you see, what's far more likely than a Roo being enchanted with water walking is that he's actually running on a sandbar. That is basically just a fancy description for ocean currents piling up a shitload of sand into one place, creating an offshore segment of the water that's not much deeper than a fucking kid's pool. Now, Roos know about sandbars, and they actually very frequently use them as a shortcut to get from A to B to find more food. So, while it looks like Skippy here is stealing Jesus' entire fucking flow, he's actually on a Macca's mish.
Let me get a...
Aussie farmers thought they were being attacked by aliens. But what was actually causing it is so much funnier. This is a wallaby, the kangaroo's vertically challenged little cousin. Now, to get a little more specific, this is a Bennett's wallaby, native to my home state of Tasmania. And that location is very important to the story. Tassie is home to a lot of things. Beautiful views, a seal with a felony record, and the nut. However, one thing they tend to leave off the tourism brochures is drugs. Tasmania is the world's largest exporter of legal opium, the main ingredient in opioid painkillers like morphine, with this one tiny island producing 50% of global supply. Now, opium comes from poppy milk, and to get poppy milk, you need to milk poppies. And to produce that 50% of global supply, Tasmanian farmers grow huge fields of these things across the north of the state. However, because throwing these flowers into a crafting table gives you f***ing narcotics, these fields are legally required to be under extremely tight security, which is why these same poppy farmers became extremely confused when f***ing crop circles showed up in the plant equivalent of a f***ing Town Hall 9 Clash of Clans base. They were understandably absolutely f***ing bewildered by this, and some people even thought it was aliens. So to figure out whether or not it was a Halo Elite drawing this shit, they set up some cameras. And what they saw was this little shit breaking into the field, eating the milk-filled buds, getting absolutely f***eyed, and then hopping in circles until he passed the f*** out. They thought the f***ing Covenant were invading, and it was a drink-driving wallaby. Australia just found a new insect.
Who's that Pokemon?
And in a certified Australia moment, it is unironically called the f***ing Lucifer bee. Because of course we have the Satan bee. The snakes and the spiders and the f***ing dinosaurs weren't enough. No. Now I gotta dodge a rejected doom enemy on my walk to work. Discovered in the closest climate to hell on Earth, Western Australia, these bad boys were named after the Lord of Hell for two reasons. The first of which being the giant f***ing demon horns bolted to their heads. Now, those horns aren't just there to look scary. They're actually a defensive mechanism to protect the demon bees from bigger predators. However, only the ladies of the species stay strapped, as the horns are only found on females, meaning a more accurate name for these absolute girl bosses is the Karlak bee. But a pair of spirit Halloween horns can't be the only reason they're named after the devil, right? I mean, there's gotta be f***ing something else. Like, do they spit fire? Maybe they've got a pitchfork for a stinger that injects you with f***ing acid venom. The answer to that is, no. It's a normal f***ing honeybee. The actual reason is that lead researcher, Dr. Kit Prendergast, was watching the f***ing Netflix show.
Biggest cock I've ever seen.
And this isn't even the first time she's done something like this. She named another species after her pet dog. F***ing based. That isn't a tree. It's a fucking bird! Introducing the tawny frogmouth, a species of bird found in the land down under, and Australia's very own avian equivalent of a maxed out Skyrim stealth build. Now you may be thinking to yourself, well, it can't be that stealthy, I can see it. Yeah, you can see that one. Did you see the one right fucking next to it? Now, the important question is, why the fuck do these things have predator camo? Well, there's two reasons. First of all being, it's fucking Australia. You see, these bad boys are primarily nocturnal, staying on the move during the night and dive bombing unaware insects to meet their bulking goals. However, that means that during the day, they sleep. And in a country where at any point you can be bitten, mauled, stung, or fucking drop-kicked to death, laying down in the wrong spot can turn a short nap into the forever sleep. So, in order to prevent themselves from becoming an item on a snake's KFC order, these tactical chickens evolved the ghillie suit to basically allow them to fucking disappear. Being practically invisible allows them to unlock their second passive, fucking DoorDash. You see, these guys are so fucking good at cosplaying a stick that not only do predators mistake them for Groot, but so does their prey. And so, whenever they take a nap, they just leave their mouths open a little bit. And whenever some poor ant just tries to walk his way to work, he instead DoorDashes himself directly into its fucking mouth.